Nothing bad. Sorry. Thanks, Mikey. Um, so we're going to move on. I'm going to bring us back from closed session. It is 6. Oh, I was going to, okay. And regarding the student matter, we are tabling it to the next meeting because we have more questions. Okay, thank you for saying that. I'm going to bring us back from closed session at 6:06. And let me see where we are. Okay, this meeting is recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel for your convenience. The Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to kindly ask uh, Mr. Rayhill and Kush Gill, Dr. Gill, if you would stand up and please honor us in doing the pledge together, leading us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ah, that makes me so sad. Oh my gosh. Thank you for doing that. We are going to move on to approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as written,
I
please?
move that we approve the agenda as written.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Can we get a roll call, please?
President Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Moss?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Thank you.
And now we moved up to section 8, and we have a highlight. And Dr. Wright, I'm turning this over to you.
All right, good evening. So today we have a special highlight. We have two of our executive cabinet members, Dr. Cushwinder Gill and Tim Rayhill, who served our organization for a number of years. I think Mr. Rayhill's been here, 15 years as a CBO, and Dr. Gill, 7 years as Assistant Superintendent of HR. You know, I gotta say, coming in new to this role, being able to walk in the room and see the two of you, as well as Dr. Beatson, can't tell you how much calm that brought me being a new superintendent, having the three of you in the room. It just made all the difference in the world. You really helped our organization move forward, and you certainly helped me with my professional growth. I don't know that there's anything that I can say tonight that expresses my gratitude towards the two of you and what you've done, not only for this organization, but for me personally. And I know that you have an opportunity to go off and expand your career, and we wish you well. And I know that this isn't goodbye. This is just see you later. And I just want to just thank you.
And I would like to also just publicly extend my gratitude for your colleagueship and your friendship. It has been a wonderful ride, and you will be truly missed, but I know that we will stay in contact. But you've taught me so much, so I appreciate you both very much.
I'm going to chime in, if that's okay. We are going to miss you. We collectively are going to miss you both very much. And I just want you to know we have a little son. Are you? Oh, man. Oh, man. That's sweet. That's really sweet. We do have a little something for each of you in the boardroom. So if you would come back after we finish, we'd appreciate that. Thank you. Are we?
And we would like to present you with these gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to show the board and get pictures.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I have to say, I've thoroughly enjoyed working with both of you as well. Your level of knowledge and professionalism is really like, I mean, it means a lot. So I'm happy to have been able to work with you. So.
Same. Well said.
I've worked with Tim for ever, and Kush, you know, you would come into my classroom and it would just be like, "Yay, Kush is here!" And it was always so joyful. And Tim and I went through all kinds of history, right? We went through medical benefits, which, you know, we're starting that again, but it's yeah. But it has been a pleasure and really my honor to have gotten to know you, Kush, and Tim, and have worked with you. And thank you for everything that you've done.
And yes, I echo everything that's been said. I've only been working with you for about a year, and in that year, I've learned so much from both of you. And I you know, for the public who may be watching, that the work that you've done is tremendous.
Absolutely.
And you have really been able to keep our district at the high level it's been at this whole time. And I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of you. And I know you'll go on to do great things, and you better keep in touch.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much. This is an honor and pleasure, and I have been truly blessed to be part of this team and part of Benicia Unified for the past 7 years. It is not easy. It's very difficult. But I just want to say that I am thankful to all of you for giving me the opportunity to serve this community, serve our students, serve our staff, and I have learned, I've grown personally and professionally by learning from all of you and the long life relationships we have developed. And like Dr. Wright said, it's not a goodbye, it's see you later. I will definitely keep in touch and hopefully come to visit back and come here and also go to the water. That's my favorite place over there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's somebody used, we had a little admin social today, and another person used how it was a blessing to be here. And it really is a blessing to be here in our great community. We have great students, great staff, great folks in town. And I feel like over the last 15 years, we've just built upon all the good stuff that you guys have continued. And it's a wonderful place to be with the facilities, with the programs. We can feel really good about setting up our kids for success. So thank you so much.
I also want to add one more sentence, which is I am so proud of everybody's work together, especially unlike other school districts, other organizations. The relationships we have developed with BTA and CSCA are beyond amazing. And other than my relationship with everybody else, that is very unique. It doesn't happen. It's not very common that that an HR person, assistant superintendent, chief negotiator from the district side, can say that I truly have very high respect for my BTA and CSEA friends, and that trust that we have among ourselves is hardly ever anywhere to be found.
Very
So
rare.
we have it.
Very rare.
So that's a gift I'm taking with me along with everything. And Dr. Wright, you have been beyond amazing. So I truly, I wish our journey together was longer. But thank you.
Yeah, you guys better email us and give us updates and let us know how you're doing, because you know our emails. So that being said, we are going to move on to the superintendent report. Dr. Wright.
All right. I just want to thank everyone for an outstanding school year, students, parents, our staff, our volunteers. Just want to thank them for getting us through an outstanding year. Had an opportunity to go to the couple of promotion ceremonies and the graduation ceremonies nicely done. So I want to thank our site leaders for putting that together. They were very classy. It was a great way to send off our students that are transitioning or promoting to the next chapter of their lives. In terms of our school district, our school sites are still open. Elementary school site and Liberty High School is open until June 18th. BMS is open till the 24th, and BHS is open to June 28th. The district office is open throughout the summer from 8 to 4:30. And just want everyone to have a great summer, and we look forward to having another outstanding year next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Board, any things you would like to share? I know we've all been really busy, so please share away.
Well, obviously the promotions and the graduations. Congratulations to everybody who was there. I attended the elementary school, middle school, and I had one child at each promoting, so that was fun. And my middle schooler gave me a hug. And then the high school and Liberty, really awesome promotions. And also just wanted to share that I attended the improv team. They had kind of a senior final show at Luca, and they're hilarious. And I really encourage anybody in the community board, everybody, go see them. They're funny for everybody, all ages. Yeah, all ages. Really good job.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to say anything?
I will. I just want to give a shout out to all the principals. The promotion ceremonies were beautiful. The graduation ceremonies were so heart-wrenching and so joyful all at the same time. And it was they were wonderful, wonderful graduation ceremonies. So thanks for having us.
And I'll just echo what everybody said about the promotions and the graduations. I was a very busy person, attending almost all of them. And it's always a thrill for me to see these kids go to the next level and how happy the parents are or their other family and friends. And it warms my heart when I see them getting their, whatever it is that they're getting, their the paper that's going to promote them. Well, is that for middle, lower ed? They get a diploma?
No.
Oh, okay. So promotions and the diplomas for the secondary ed with Benicia Middle School and Benicia High School and Liberty. It's an honor to be here on this board and to be able to witness that every year. So we had a couple bad years, but we're back on track, and it's wonderful. So thank you. You guys all did an amazing job. Congratulations to all the students. And that's it. I'm going to close that out. Thank you.
Nice.
We're moving on to comments from members of the public. BUSD has moved to in-person board meetings. Masks are strongly recommended but not required. All functions of the board meeting, including public comments, will take place in person. Members of the public may address the board at a regular meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Speaker cards are available on the entrance table. Please note the item you wish to speak to and submit a card to the board secretary. The board president will call an open session general comments during the public comment item. Comments for items on the agenda will be called during that specific item. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, or the board may limit it to 20 minutes per item with the timer displayed on the monitors. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda. And please be reminded to keep your comments respectful, as students may be watching the board meeting. And with that, we're going to ask if there's any comments. So we're going to go ahead and move on from comments from the public, because there's nobody here today. 11, approval of the consent calendar. So background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on a roll call vote unless discussion of items is requested by the board members. So, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as written?
I move that we approve the consent calendar as written.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, may I get a roll call, please?
President Seda.
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs. Trustee Moss. Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do I need to do the resolutions on the declaration separate now? Okay, good. Okay, so we have on item E, approval of resolution number 23-24-32. Can I do it as a group? Okay, so declaration of obsolete library materials. A roll call. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the next one, approval of resolution number 23-24-38. Declaration of obsolete library media materials. Roll call, please.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
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 All right, G, approval of resolution number 23-24-39, declaration of obsolete library materials. Roll call, please. Yes.
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 Thank you. I think we have just one more.
More.
Oh, two more. Approval of resolution number 23-24-37, declaration of obsolete technology equipment. Roll call, please. Yes.
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 Okay, and the approval of the district authorized signature signing authority.
We have 23-24-40, declaration of BHS obsolete reference books.
Where is that on my? It's H.
It's H, yeah.
Well, it's not on mine, H, sorry.
She just
I
said
did that.
one. She skipped 40. Yeah, she skipped 40.
But I don't.
It's not showing on
It's
hers.
not on mine. Okay, the next one is resolution number 23-24-37, declaration, I did that.
We did that. 23-24-40.
Never mind. Approval of resolution number 23-24-40, declaration of BHS obsolete reference books. Roll call, please. Yes.
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 Thank you. That's done. We're going to move on to item 12.
District authorized signatures.
Right? What?
There is no, 12 doesn't have anything.
Okay, I must have the wrong one in my hand.
There are no presentations.
No, it's probably right in here. Well, no, I am. Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay. Presentations and communication and informational items, and we don't have any this evening. So we're going to move on to our item number 13, action items. And first up is Dr. Beatson.
Good evening. Tonight, I'm bringing back the Local Control Accountability Plan, the LCAP, for your approval. Last meeting on May 30th, I brought it for public comment. We went through all of the different components. I'm happy to do that again for you if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them.
Does anybody have any?
I had the one question, and I feel so silly that I didn't ask it the last time, but I think that when I was reviewing it the last time, for some reason, I thought this LCAP was for this last year, but that was only because it was based on the data. from last year. This is for the next year going forward. And I just say this with the caveat that I know we're going to be doing a lot of visioning and all of that. And I, one thing that I had wondered if we wanted to do is maybe do some very minor language tweaks on a couple of the goals. I just think that they could be actually made a little bit more inclusive. I was concerned about, and this is probably me doing what I do for a living and reading these things and thinking about them and on and on and on. But there were a couple of terms in the goals that I just wonder if we could tweak to make them more inclusive. And I can explain. So one, and tell me, I want to hear everybody's thoughts too. So under SEL,
What page, what slide?
so I'm on slide 18. If you look at slide 18, it'll go through the 4. Oh, one back. And so the goals, I think I understand from the last time, these were written several years ago and they were all based off, hard work by a committee. So, these have been in place and we're going to be looking at maybe changing the wording. I think the goals will probably stay the same for the next visioning. And I don't know if we're planning to look at these goals too, but I'm just kind of going off the assumption that at least for the next LCAP year, these will stay the same. So the only suggestion I had was really, there were 2 phrases in here that I thought maybe could be made more inclusive. So under SEL, the use of especially, I got worried about that seeming like we weren't concerned about SEL of other students, or if we could make it more inclusive to say maybe specifically including. Again, it's just a language thing, and it's a SEL. Well, or inclusive. So especially sounds narrower to me, and I think that calling out underrepresented has value in that it's telling people that we include you, right? And so maybe in the past people haven't been listed or included, and so there was an effort here to make sure that people knew that they were included. And so the reason more for my change is just saying maybe including, but if there are other people, just to make it clear
And be
that,
specific on what those underrepresented groups, like who those groups are, basically, kind of like that.
yeah, so let me take the equity goal and I'll show you, that's another example. So here, the only thing that I would suggest changing in SEL is all students in BUSD, including but not limited to, or including those who have been underrepresented, just to make it clear that we care about SEL for all students, right? Just to open that up. And then kind of a similar thing with equity in the second paragraph. We do have listed groups in the second paragraph. And I think, again, these are groups that may be showing up in the CASP reports, right, as having some gaps. And it says with a particular focus on students. My concern with that language is that it's a little bit limiting. I see the value in listing the groups out to make it clear that people are specifically included, but my suggestion would just be to say, including but not limited to, or including. And then that would, I'm not sure if I'd have to go back through the presentation to see if these groups are still in our red bands, but that gives us some flexibility where maybe some years we have groups, other groups, and
So I just want to,
yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying.
Okay.
And so some of that is based on CASP data, but it's other data as well. So our REACH data,
Yeah.
our student survey data, even conversations with kids about how do they feel and things like that. So all of that goes into how those groups got named.
Can I ask, structurally, I totally get where you're going, but structurally, aren't we supposed to be taking action on this today? I mean, it seems like structurally, would it be, if we were to make changes, wouldn't we have to pull it and then bring it back on another date?
I'm wondering if you could amend it. If you all agree,
Could amend
we
it?
could amend it. I can make those couple of wording
'Cause
changes.
we do want to approve this tonight.
Yes, and then it needs to get approved because it has to be
there's
approved by
no
June 30th.
going back, yeah.
but I
Right.
don't, I
get where
don't
you're
see why you
coming from.
couldn't
I
do.
wanna make
if-
sure we
If it's what you want to do, I don't see why you couldn't do an amendment, and then I make the change before I send it to the.
And I know that, and that's why I kind of gave the caveat that I know we're going to be doing this big visioning process and you know, we need to get something in place for next year. And so you know, it's not my intention to hold things up or complicate things, but every time I read it, I'm kind of like, I think we can use some terms that better represent what we do in reality, you know? So let me do this. I'm going to move that we amend the sense of belonging LCAP goal to strike the word especially and insert the word including. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do I have questions after we make, or after we?
No, we'll we can
You wanna-
still
I'm
I'm
talk.
just trying
Maybe
to
my
make sure
motion.
that I understand it. So, because I know especially you put it just to make sure that we know that we're focusing on groups that we know that we have to be, you know, that we need to be focusing on because they haven't been served really. I mean, as well as they could be.
That was the mindset
So,
behind it that I.
Right. And so if it's between especially and including, it's kind of the same, but not, it's not like we're only going to focus on this group, but we just want to make sure that, because you're just basically saying that we want to make sure that it's completely inclusive while we know that we need to call out certain groups that have been unfortunately failing in this system for years. So
That, I think that's right. And I'd just add that, you know, there may be other groups that would fall in to the historically underrepresented, you know, not included. And even though they might not be listed here, they're included too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I don't think the word especially is exclusive. I think it just brings that to light. But I do understand what you're saying.
because the goal is we really want to make sure that all of our students are
Yes.
successful. However, we know that there's certain groups who have not been successful, and based on the data over the years that have been, you know, that has been analyzed, whatever has really shown that there are groups in this district who have significantly failed, you know, over the years, and they still are. However, you're saying that there may be other groups that are not. And a lot of the data, so it is generated and it does come out through, you know, by gender, by race, and, you know, grade and everything like that. So I believe that in analyzing the data, you know, there is that effort to look at all, you know, everything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so, okay.
And I think that's right. But I don't see, with the word especially, I don't see that as standing for what you just said, which
Okay.
was, and I'm not recommending we get rid of the list. My thing is just to make sure that we are truly focusing on and getting the resources to kids who need that boost, right? Because to make sure that all kids in our district are learning, it's necessary that we're going to have to you know, focus on areas where kids aren't meeting and figure out why aren't they meeting and what can we do to get them there, right? That's the whole goal. So yeah, and I don't want to unnecessarily complicate things, but
Your motion.
so I did the one, I don't know if I can do them both on the same motion. Okay, let me start over. I'm going to pull my previous motion. And then I'd like to make a motion to amend the sense of belonging LCAP goal by striking the word especially and inserting the word including, and to amend the equity goal to strike the words particular focus and add the word including.
The amendment before, or can we say as amended?
I think we have to take an action on the
We
amendment
would have to
first,
approve the
because
amendment,
if
yeah.
everybody doesn't agree, then we would then go to move to the item. Yeah,
I
so,
just have one more question.
Yeah.
Can I do a clarification question? Okay, sorry. I just, because my brain, I have to make
It's all
sure it
good,
makes
man.
sense to
Yeah,
me.
I know.
So with, because I know with the particular focus, I know that you have, there are groups that are called out is because on our test results, those areas is where really what triggers us going into the red zone or, that type of thing. So there has to be a focus on making sure that these groups are, being served. So it can't be, because sometimes what happens is the unfortunate part is that if it's not called out specifically, then it gets brushed under the rug or not intentionally all the time, but it kind of, we have a tendency to maybe overlook certain groups because, it's just, that's just happens. Not,
Yeah.
like I said, not intentionally, but it can happen. So without having it particularly, I think the idea was to make sure that we are, we can't lose sight of what, these groups that have, with this data that has shown that they haven't been doing well. So with that still makes means the same thing. Is that what we're saying?
That's my intent. There might, if there's a better way to word it, but maybe when we do the visioning and we really go into this in depth, we can tie it. I think it's a good idea to tie our goals to the date, to tie it so that when somebody who's looking at it will say, okay, they're doing this because this is what the data shows, and it's kind of a.
I think that, the way it's worded for me, I think those groups, we have a dominant monolithic, not a monolithic group, but we have a dominant group in our schools. And these, especially in the equity, the people that were listed out are underrepresented. They're not part of that dominant group. And we have to, I really like the idea of making sure their voices are heard because we know whose voices are always heard, and it's that dominant group. So for me personally, I get where you're coming from, but I think that dominant group is always heard. And I think these underrepresented groups are not heard to that same. And we really need to focus on that because it's easy just to hear from the dominant group and not hear from the the other groups. So I like what you're saying about the inclusive aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I think we really do need to take that extra step for those groups, especially ones listed in the equity area, because they are underrepresented and their voices get drowned out, I think, a lot of the time. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, but just to be really clear, I'm not suggesting that we're eliminating groups. What
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
know.
what I'm saying is, do we have enough room in here for other underrepresented groups? I could think of a whole bunch of different underrepresented groups. So the point is not to assert some kind of a dominant narrative. I'll use air quotes for that, but
right.
it's really to make sure that we're truly inclusive of all students who are in need of representation and that boost. And so my concern is really, I know these are the groups that show up in the CAST because that's how the CAST groups them, but I don't want to lose sight of the other groups who might not belong here, but who still need to be included in this goal. And that's the purpose behind my proposed amendment.
That kind of goes to like when we look at the data though too, is because every student has the data attached to them. So even when the test results come out, we still see who those students are, like every last one of them. So for those leading instruction, that gives an opportunity to say, for this student, I need to focus on, comprehension or, that kind of thing. So I know as we peel back the layers of the data, it's, there should be representation for every single student.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree.
When we look at the data.
Yeah. No, I spent 20 years at bargaining table too, and words do matter.
Yeah.
And I do especially those who've been underrepresented covers to me all those who, we're not listing people in the social emotional learning part. So it would cover everybody that is underrepresented. If we said including those, who are we adding in that are just not added in under the concept of especially those? If you change that word from especially to including, I don't know who we're adding into the mix.
Let me just talk a little bit about the conversation.
Yeah.
So yes, we built these goals several years ago, but then we look at them, they really should last over the 3-year LCAP. That's the intent, is that once you do them, you might tweak something here and there, but you're building them for the 3 years. but the conversation was really about it. The intent was never to exclude anybody, but to almost highlight, to say it includes everybody, but we're going to pay particular attention or particular outreach or particular focus on some groups that we haven't necessarily done that in the past. And I think some of it came from, it's like that principally directed, you know, it includes everybody, but we're going to really pay a closer attention. So however that wording makes the most sense, whether it's especially those, which in my head, it doesn't exclude anybody, but it's highlighting those. And I don't know which works better for folks.
No, and if including, if everybody's with including, I'm not gonna hold up anything. I just, you know, I do think there's a difference. in
Yeah.
What it says.
Yeah, inclusive but not limited to, you know, or something
Or
like that.
specifically including to make it clear that, you know, but yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts. And I think this is a valuable conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
I know we were hoping to get this part done tonight. Are you here?
We have to get it done tonight.
Oh, it has to?
There's no way around
Okay.
it. We have to.
We can get it done tonight.
So then, you know, we have an amendment that we are looking at, but also when we come back in August, might that not be a good time to really look at the wording? Because by law, this has to get submitted, right? So,
Today. Yep.
so
I'm not sure. I'd have to find out if we can adjust it after it's been approved, because in August, it's going to be at the state.
Right.
So what happens is, we need your hopeful approval this evening, then it goes to the county. They will have a meeting with me in July to make usually it's just a minor, you missed a period here kind of thing. And then they have to send it off to the state for approval. So once it's approved,
it cannot be amended. Is that
it's probably
not-
better to do
yeah.
it tonight if we wanted to.
It's like a contract that
Can
you
we
turned
say-
in. Once you turn in the contract, you can't go back and try to amend it later.
What if we added like including groups who may not be identified as of yet? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's just, is that what you're, is that what
Yeah,
you're-
and
'cause
I
you're
know
saying
I'm
that you
being
know of other
super kind of
groups.
like,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, I think words matter. And, you know, really my intention was to highlight it and get the discussion going, because I think it's a good discussion. And see if people, if, you know, we were open to amending it for this year. One question for you, Dr. Beatson, if we don't, you know, amend the language tonight, then this LCAP, and assuming the LCAP passes, then would we have maybe a little more time to kind of think about this for 25, 26?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
because every year we need to get input and consultation with groups, and what would be really great is if we could bring that to the LCAP team, which is the team that's worked on this a lot, and really kind of look at what do the words mean and how does it change I mean, I think either is fine, whichever way you all want to go with this.
Bless you.
But we can.
You have some, like, groups, you said you knew of other groups, or is there
Well, I
anyone
can
you
imagine.
suggest?
I just think of what a diverse school. We have so much we have diversity in our schools, and you know, there's. I can think of any number of groups. Now, maybe those groups aren't showing up on the CASP data, and maybe what we do is think about tying the talking about the CASP, or like who show up in the red bands. That's too difficult, I think, for tonight. So I think that I feel better if you know, if this is something we could maybe revisit for the next school year, given how much work you've put into this and getting it all ready, and the information session and all that we did last month.
Yeah, and
That makes me feel better, that I know that we can maybe continue the conversation
Right.
and see if we can tie our goals more closely to our, you know, our overall mission statements. Like for example, goals 2 and 3, we don't have anything in there about meeting or exceeding standards. We talk about closing a gap, but we don't have the overall that I feel like every student should be meeting or exceeding standards. Everybody. That's a more complicated wording discussion, but if there's room, you know, I know this LCAP is kind of like a 3-year thing, but if there's room to tweak language in year 2, that makes me feel
So
better.
if we bring it back for 25, 26, I mean, we have to approve this tonight, but I'd be open to looking
Yeah.
at it later.
Yeah.
But
More
I think we need to
discussion.
move
Are
on
you
with
okay
this.
with that?
Yeah,
Amy?
and I just, you okay with that?
I'm good with that, and I
Okay.
thank all of you for the discussion.
Oh,
And I want to
totally.
just add one more thing.
Yeah.
So I know that going back to my experience, as an educator, a teacher, one of the things that we did do around data was to really have conversations. So we peeled it back even further. So we were able to have those small group discussions about who needed this or what those groups were. So I can say that's probably happening, to that level where the teachers and the administrators are having discussions about, specifically on their sites, like who the students are and, that type of thing.
Yeah, so it's not happening.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly,
no, I totally get that. And I
Yeah.
think from my perspective, I want to make it clear to those in our community who don't have that knowledge
Right.
that is going on. And I do believe that is going on.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
one goal I think for our visioning and then maybe future LCAPs is to make sure that our 4 major goals really align with our practices.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
absolutely.
Okay.
That's a good call.
Really good points.
Okay.
I'll withdraw my amendment.
And we're going to go back to the beginning. Okay, so can I get a motion on the consideration and adoption of the 24-25 Local Control Accountability Plan?
I move that we approve the 24-25 LCAP.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Seda,
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs, Trustee Moss, Trustee Maselli,
Yes.
and Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
All right, we're going to move on to B, consideration and adoption of the 24-25 budget for the Benicia Unified School District. Mr. Rahale, you're up.
Yes, thank you. We have this for your action to adopt the 24-25 budget for our school district. It's the same information that was presented a couple weeks ago during the public hearing. It provides for the state minimums reserve as well as the local school district reserve, and thus provides a positive certification for our 24-25 budget.
Thank you.
Have any questions? No?
If you can believe it, no.
Oh. Okay, I just want to put it out there.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So can I get a motion to consider of the consideration and adoption of the 24-25 budget for the Benicia Unified School District?
I move that we approve the 2024-25 budget for the Benicia Unified School District.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs, Trustee Moss,
Yes.
Trustee Maselli,
Yes.
and Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
All right. Item C, consideration and approval of recommended 2024 facility use fee schedule. And Dr. Wright is going to talk to us about this.
All right, good evening. So staffs recommend that the governing board consider approving the facility fee schedule as presented. We have not updated this schedule in well over a decade. I don't know when the last time it was updated. I know that our current director of maintenance and operation has been here over 10 years, and it hasn't been updated during that time frame. And looking at districts, our surrounding districts within the Bay Area, it was time to update so that our rates are comparable to theirs. And so we are recommending that the board consider adopting the fee schedule as presented. I'm also excited to announce that we've been in conversation with Civic Permits and a couple of other companies so that our users can will be able to rent the facilities online and make payments online and just kind of streamline that process. So we're really moving forward. But this is the first step in that process, is to take a look at our fee schedule, and now we would be comparable to other districts.
All right. Any questions? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the recommended 2024 facility use fee schedule?
I move that we approve the recommended 2024 facility use fee schedule.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Ms. Martinez.
President Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs, Trustee Moss, Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Okay, next item, consideration and approval of workplace violence prevention plan. And I'm going to call on Dr. Gill. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, trustees, Dr. Wright, community members, and cabinet. So, several bills have been passed by the governor effective this year, January 2024, and starting next school year. SB 553 is one of them. Is called a workplace violence prevention plan. The intent of this bill was there were incidents at in workplace that became an issue to the point where the governor actually had to pass this bill. This bill mainly focuses on four different areas. One is that the school districts need to have, not only school districts, all organizations, private and public, have to write a workplace violence prevention plan. The prevention plan can either sit within the injury prevention plan or separately. For our district, as of right now, it's a separate document, but that's something could be up for discussion in the future years. Secondly, the intent and the also was is to receive input from employees, bargaining units, in our cases, BTA and CSEA, not only in the development of the plan, but also the implementation of the plan. So we have received input. The Google Docs were created, the plan was created, we discussed it, but also we shared the entire plan with them for their input. They are very thankful for that. Thirdly, at the implementation of the plan starting in July 1, 2024, all employees must receive training. We have training already scheduled with Keenan. There is going to be one more training as part of the annual trainings. Everybody has to attend it, including the governing board and employees.
Oh, gosh.
Cal OSHA will oversee. There has the oversight of this this plan, and then finally all incidents have to be logged. And there has to be a log in the central log. Our intent is most probably the log will mostly sit within the human resources department, and certain people have to have the oversight, which is written all the details in there. And during the implementation, Dr. Wright and I have already discussed. There will be conversations additional in the fall with BTA and CSCA as the implementation happen, and ongoing conversations. And then and the plan could also be amended in future times if needed, if issues arise. So I'm bringing it to you for your approval so that it could be implemented starting in July 1, 2024.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So this training with Keenan, would that be in person or is that a webinar?
So there's two intents. It will be a first at some point, either in staff meetings or in some shape or form, there will be an in-person introduction of the plan and the introduction of the bill, and then the detailed training for individual each employee will be through Keenan, just
The
online.
Keenan webinar?
So it has to be both.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, they already did that, and we've already had to do the Keenan training, so it'll be just like the other ones.
So what I noticed last year was that the Keenan training was done over the summer, but before staff came back to work. It was done ahead of time. So how is staff compensated for using this time?
Yeah, so what we do is for our BTA unit members, they're provided time during their work time, either on a professional development day.
It was due, I think, July 31st.
No,
It was
it's not due until
before-
September 30th. Last year it was due. We always have to give them at least 30 days, but so we gave them a month and a half. It was due on September 30th. And some employees, so they're given time. Some employees choose to do it during their own time, but they're still given time during the work time.
Okay.
And then classified employees who are 11-month employees are paid on a timesheet, and 12-month employees are given time during their work time to complete the trainings. That is something we have already discussed because this is additional time. We have already discussed with BTA, and Dr. Beatson just shared that with me today, that there will be additional time given for for this training as well.
So the additional time, is that during a staff meeting?
During a district professional development time, or during a staff meeting or something like that, in the beginning of the school year, and then afterwards as well. Yes. And then BTA is in agreement with that. And then
Oops.
classified employees will be given on a timesheet, especially the 11 months.
I have a question. Did we model those sheets on somebody else that's done it before, or where did we get all that language?
So we worked with the North Bay and their attorney, Patty Ayers. She actually did do a training of lots of anybody who was part of North Bay. Most of the people were there when I attended the training as well. This is very common for us to use Patty Ayers because it's an attorney, it's a legal counsel who is giving us direction and helping us. We also use her templates during COVID time as well. And so they're thoroughly looked at, but also she co-aligns not only with the law, but also CalOSHA requirements, because CalOSHA has the oversight.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Any other questions? Because I'm going to move on.
Yeah, the only question I have is if a member of staff needs to access this, where
So
will it be?
once this is approved,
Yeah.
and once it's finalized, after you approve, it will be finalized. It will be on our website. It will also be sent to all employees. I am going to make sure I will personally send it to all employees via email, but I know that it will be sent again. I'll make sure that it's done. Dr. Wright will make sure that it will be done in the fall as well, via email as well, so that employees not only receive it on the website. We will also keep hard copies of this in each of the offices at the school sites. Like injury prevention plan is kept in a binder at each of the offices, same way this will be kept hard copies there as well.
Okay.
Ms. Scrubs, you had a question?
All right. We are going to complete this one. Can I get an approval of workplace violence prevention plan?
I move that we approve the workplace violence prevention plan.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Ms. Martinez?
President Seda.
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs. Trustee Moss. Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on to E. Consideration and approval of upgraded and revised food service department job descriptions as listed on the attached documents. So you're going to be here for a little bit here, so we're ready.
Thank you, ma'am. So in the last board meeting on May 30th, I had brought forward some job description from food service department that was actually reclassified. So those were newer job descriptions. These three positions were not reclassified, they were just upgraded. That means the titles, the salary got moved up, but the title stayed the same. Because the some of the duties are changing, so the job descriptions needed to be updated as well. So it was the recommendation from the panel to upgrade the job descriptions to include the fresh produce cooking, all those kind of specific pieces in the job descriptions. So we're just bringing you the revised job descriptions, and they had been gone through the 610 process with CSEA. Thank you to our CSEA partners there. And we're just bringing you forward so that we could implement these in the fall.
Are there any questions?
I just have one in the description. It says that the food service department is going to fund the upgrade expenses and it won't impact the general fund. I was just curious if they expect to
accurate?
be getting more money. Oh, okay.
So yes, that is accurate. The funding that comes through food service department and the requirements from the state because of the new law, which is mentioned in here. So yes, food service, which you had approved last board meeting. So this is the second piece of it that we were not able to bring last time because it had to go through the CSE 610 process. And so yes, the all upgrades that you had approved last time in the actual salaries are being funded by the food service department and will not have any impact on the general fund.
Thank you.
Definitely.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve of the upgraded and revised food service department job descriptions as listed in the attachments.
I'll move that we approve the upgraded and revised food service department job descriptions as listed.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Seda,
Yes.
Trustee Gretz, Trustee Moss, Trustee Maselli,
Yes.
and Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, F. Glad you're still there, Dr. Gill. Consideration and approval of the K-12 Informed Project Manager temporary position job description and stipend.
Yes, ma'am. So this is something we have been wanting to do for a long time. This is, I'm very excited that we are doing this in our school district. Currently, many of our processes are paper pencil processes, which were used to be good in 19th century, but we are more, so it's about time we get with the flow and go online. So we are very excited to share that we are going to be moving into K-12 Informed, which is a program that will allow our processes to be moved online, all the papers to be online. It will not only assist with making the processes efficient and reduce errors, it will also save in a long run district a lot of money and a lot of oversight of the paperwork and move things very quickly. In order for us to have a successful implementation, it's extremely important to have one person who is overseeing the process while the initial implementation is going on for 1 year. So we would like to bring this stipend position to you so we can give it to one of our employees, existing employees. They will do additional work to make sure this is done correctly, but we just need your blessing to get this approved so we can move forward with the work.
Oh, go ahead.
I was wondering what protections are in place.
What do you mean by that?
So, what protections are in place in the data that will be entered and the forms that go online and everything that will be online? Does this company inform? Is that
Oh yes, K-12 is encrypted.
it's encrypted?
It's encrypted. That's part of the agreement, part of the contract we write. Like for example, when we used Escape, that's also an outside company. When we use EdJoin, all that data personalized data gets put in those. So any of those, like those companies, this also company is that's part of the contract, that it is their responsibility to make sure our data is safe, data is secure, and it does not go. That's why the way it will be routed, it will only certain people will access. So for example, as an employee, if I say I want to use my personal necessity leave, that's like the document, it will only be gone to the supervisor and HR. Nobody else will ever see it.
So, but what if there's a data breach? What is their guarantee?
So, I mean, if we look at that, right now, many of our documents, others also, they sit in Escape. All of our social security numbers are in Escape, right? So that's there. So can the companies guarantee anything and everything 100% sure? Can anybody guarantee anything? And nobody can. But yes.
The reason I ask is because I get letters almost every day saying there's been a data breach
yeah.
here and there's been a data breach here.
This company is vetted. Lots of other school districts use it. Fairfield use it. Many other school districts use it too. And that is a part of the contract that their data is encrypted and make sure that it is secure data.
So if there is a data breach, then they will contract with some of the credit reporting.
Other like
companies
we do with
and-
anything else, yes.
Yeah.
So there's an insurance.
Yeah,
They
there is
carry an
definitely,
insurance
yeah,
that,
like we do with the others like Aries and Escape and same thing with the others.
One thing I've wondered here, because in Pittsburgh for about 4 years now, we do all our roll online. Instead of having to physically send, is this going to allow people to do that, or
We haven't looked into that yet. That's a great.
it's so nice not to have to sign a bunch of papers. We just do it online. I think you guys got to sign.
I think they have to sign the reconciliation documents or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they have to sign
We
something.
can
no
look
worries.
into that.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Great. This is one of those items that I think Dr. Beats had highlighted, right? With
That's correct.
with the audit.
This Dr. Ms. Sherry Beats had recommended that was to do that to make our
Solid.
processes.
Good call.
Thank you for following up.
Definitely.
Okay.
Are we?
Yeah, we're good.
ready? Okay. I just want to comment on it, the whole thing. I am so happy that this has been looked into and that you guys are going to go paperless and have, you be able to pull up anything at the touch of a button. So I just think it's great. So with that being said, can I get a motion for the labor negotiations? Wrong one.
F.
Sorry, I'm looking down here. Okay. Consideration, no, approval of the K-12 informed project manager temporary position and job description with a stipend.
Also move.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Y'all raced for that. Roll call, please.
President Seda,
Yes.
Trustee Grebs, Trustee Moss, Trustee Maselli, and Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
All right, next up, consideration and ratification of the tentative agreement for the 24-25 school year between BUSD and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 1096.
Yes, ma'am. So first of all, I want to thank our CSEA 1096 members, negotiating team, and the members and their CSEA rep, Shwana Grace. Thank you for your partnership. It has been a pleasure and honor and to work with you and do this work together. I am definitely going to miss our partnership and collaboration. So we met for 2 sessions. So we are very pleased that we're bringing you forward a COLA of raise of 1.07% for our CSEA 1096 members, plus $95 on benefits. We do have a contingency language in there that says that if the COLA changes by 0.5% and the state adopts a 2024-25 state budget that is less than 0.57, which I don't think will happen, but or more than 1.57, then the parties shall meet to negotiate.
Okay.
Secondly, I want to also share that I was informed that our CCSA membership has ratified this TA with 100% vote. So that's the first. I want to give you guys a big round of applause for that. Because, so very proud of you. In accordance with AB 1200, the financial impact of this tentative agreement with CSEA Chapter 1096 is $241,661 $621.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions? Oh, yes. Okay. Can I get a motion to consider the tentative agreement for the 24-25 school year between Benicia Unified and the California School Employees Association, better known as CSEA, Chapter 1096?
I move that we approve the tentative agreement between BUSD and CSEA Chapter 1096.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second. Oh, all right, I'll second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Martinez.
President Seda,
Of course.
Trustee Grebs. Yes. Trustee Moss. Yes. Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
All righty. Consideration and ratification, we're going to talk about item C. Consideration and ratification of the salary and benefits for the 24-25 school year between the confidential management, classified and certificated, and the Benicia Unified School District. Dr. Gill.
So before I actually explain this document, I wanted to make an amendment. There's a typo in here, and I take responsibility for that error. I wrote in here that in accordance with AB 1200, the financial impact of this tentative agreement should be with management and confidential employee, not CSCA 1096. So it should be, the amended should be agreement with confidential management, classified and certificated salary. I also want to point this $141,870 includes all management and confidential, including the superintendent and cabinet as well, which we will be bringing into the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And so similar or same as CSEA 1096, we are bringing forward to for your approval salary increase, ongoing salary increase for 1.07% for confidential management, classified and management certificated employees for the 24-25 school year, with the contingency languages of 0.5 increase, in case that happens, either if it goes below 0.57 or more than 1.57, then parties shall meet, it will be reconsidered. And then also $95 on monthly medical benefits as well.
I'm curious, just the wording, we talked about words. It's not considered a TA.
It's not
I mean,
a TA.
do they not have a union per se? Because that would be the only reason I could think of you wouldn't have a TA, because there's no union.
There's no union. We just share the information, and
There's no PASA or anything?
we do, what we do is we have a survey which they take and they vote yes or no on it.
Okay, I was just
So
curious.
we do have their ratification process, and
But it's not a TA per se. 'Cause
it's
there's
not a TA because there's no union. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I see nobody raising their hand. So I would like to see if we can get a motion on the amended ratification of the salary and benefits increase for the 24-25 school year between confidential management, not
Classified and certificated management.
okay, and certificated at the Benicia Unified School District. May I get a motion?
I move that we approve the salary and benefits increase for the 24-25 school year.
With-
between-
Go ahead.
With the amendment, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Between the confidential management, classified, certificated, and BUSD.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Seda,
Yes.
Trustee Grubbs, Trustee Moss, Trustee Maselli,
Yes.
and Trustee Hirsch. Yes.
Okay, we're almost done, guys. The last item up is actually going to be a pleasure for me to report out on. And then we'll approve it. But am I supposed to do this or not? Yes? Okay. Sorry, hold on. We don't.
You shared like.
Generic.
Now that we've got that settled, so we have agreed on the superintendent evaluation with Dr. Wright. He has proven himself beyond measure in a lot of areas that we believe collectively that have really improved our district since he's started. One being the information, the way he puts out the information to the public or newspapers or faculty or staff, parents, any of that. I think, we commend him for being so transparent and trying to get on it right away and get the best information that he has at the time given out. Secondly, we think that Dr. Wright has excelled in being present at school sites, at events, at so many things that he attends, like in the city, whether, whatever. He just it's really a pleasure that you are able to do that and you don't just sit in the office. And we all appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else want to chime in on anything?
No, you've pretty much summed it up, and I just want to say that I'm really grateful. It has been a really good experience to be able to work with you, and I appreciate your transparency with not only us as a board, but also with the public. You know, any inquiries that come in from any concerns, you're like you address it head on. So I believe that that's also appreciated even from the greater community. You being present at some of the meetings that I attend, you know, community-wide meetings is really a big deal to have our district's presence there. And I just, you know, I really appreciate you, and I'm really grateful that you're here. So I just wanted to say that.
And I'd like to say something too, and that is, I appreciate your courage. You are a man of courage. You are a man of communication, and you are a man of action. And I really appreciate your open door policy. You're always available or make time to be available. So I just want to say it has been a pleasure working with you, and yay. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you.
I was just going to say I agree, obviously, with everything that my fellow trustees have said. And I just want to say that, you know, members of the community will call me and ask me, what do I think about this? And I can say with full honesty, Dr. Wright, I have full confidence in Dr. Wright and his approach. And I can absolutely say that you have been on it all year. And I really thank you for your just clear and your clarity, you're thorough, and you're a leader. Thank you.
We're real lucky to have you.
Yeah, we are very lucky to have you, Dr. Wright. There were so many accolades we could have given you, and some is in your report. But so I do want to say that we did receive, or Dr. Wright received a positive evaluation, which is wonderful, and we knew that would happen, and that we need to approve the end of the year Superintendent Dr. Wright's evaluation for the 23-24 school year.
Okay. I move that we approve the end of the year Superintendent Dr. Wright evaluation for the 23-24 school year.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Sanda.
Yes.
And Trustee Grubbs. Trustee Moss. Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
And Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
All right. This brings us to the end of the meeting, but I want to thank Mikey in the back for
Yes.
doing all the
Thank you.
work that he does at our meetings. You're amazing, and you keep us online, so it's exciting. And again, I want to say to Kush and to Tim, it's a pleasure that we've been able to work with you. So thank you for all you do, and best wishes in the future, and a shorter drive for you, which I'm so happy. So with that being said, our first regular board meeting of the 24-25 school year is Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Have a great summer, everybody. Thank you.